What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Mind Something. If you're new here, my name is Jake, and in today's video we've got confirmation on the Founders Edition 4070, and then I'm going to give you my opinion on the Lokotech scrypt miner. And then graphics cards, has the prices bottomed yet? And then lastly, we're going to take a look at the 4090 profit making over $1 a day. So you know the drill. Do me a favor, hit the like and hit the subscribe if you haven't already. Let's jump straight in, take a look at the market. Right now it is about 7:53 p.m. January 10th, 2023. Bitcoin is coming in at $17,460. Ethereum is sitting at 1,337. And XRP is at almost 35 cents. Cardano at 32 cents. Dogecoin at 7.7 cents. Polygon is at 85 cents. Solana is trending down just slightly today at $16. Litecoin at $80. And then we've got Avalanche at $12.64. Chainlink at $6.16. Monero at $162. ETH Classic at $20. And Toncoin at $2.13. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of the GPU mineable coins. We'll start with Kaspa. So right now Kaspa is down 3.37% at 0.004625. Then we've got Ergo is up, holy crap, almost 18% at $1.59. And then Flux is coming in up about 3%, sitting at 54 cents right now. Radiant is down about 3.3% at 0.0088. And let's go ahead and take a look at NEXA's price. Oh wow, big red candle there. So we did pump up all the way to 481 roughly, and we are currently sitting at 418, but the candle wicked down to 391. Now I would have guessed that this was putting in somewhat of a little cup and handle formation. Let's take a look at the 15-minute chart real quick instead. So you can see we kind of pumped back up all the way to the height of this, and then we came back down, came back up and retested, and I expected us to come down and then start to put in a new high. Unfortunately, that did not happen at all. And Adam, if you're listening to me, yeah, dubious speculation, brother. Always be careful when trading. Okay, so moving on, let's take a look at mining pool stats real quick. Let's sort this chart by emissions, and I believe Kaspa has moved up the ranks a little bit. It looks like something's changed here. I'm not sure what it is, but Kaspa's emissions 112,000, Ravencoin 77,000, Monero 70,000, Ergo at 64,000, and Flux is at 49,000. So Ergo has jumped up about 20,000 since we last checked it yesterday. And it looks like difficulty is also up about 10%, while Flux's difficulty is down 31%, which is interesting. Anyways, let's take a look at what to mine. So right now, a single 3070 at 10 cents per kilowatt hour. Actually, let me refresh this. This is probably a couple hours old. Okay, so Radiant's coming in at 2 cents profit. Kaspa is coming in at -1 cent in profit. Lithium -6 cents, Ergo -8 cents, and Flux -13 cents. Oh, by the way, actually I did change the default here on Kaspa. So let me change this back to what they had it to. I think they had this set to 120 watts, which is obviously not the case at all on Kaspa, but it makes a difference if we're comparing it to previous videos. So -11 cents on Kaspa instead. Let's go ahead and take a look at profitability on NEXA. So I did a 4090 instead of a 3070 today. I've read that you can get about 145 megahash at about 350 watts and at 10 cents per kilowatt hour. That would net you a profit of $1.60 per day at the current hash rate. By the way, this was at 6:30 p.m. for me, which was a little more than an hour ago, and hash rate was sitting at almost 2 gigahash, which is up substantially even from yesterday. I think we put on another 300 to 500 gigahash since yesterday's video. Let's go ahead and take a look at hash rate right this very second, and then we'll do a 3070. Actually, I don't think caps locks works with this bot. Okay, so while we're waiting on that, we will go ahead and do profit on a 3070. So right now the current hash rate is actually 1651, so it's down considerably since I did that 3090 or 4090. So we'll take a look at that again here in just a second. So 26 cents a day in profit on NEXA and revenue of 54 cents. Let's go ahead and do that 4090 once again. So actually we're sitting at $1.77 in profit on a 4090 on NEXA. So still doing considerably well, you know, with the amount of hash rate that's piled onto NEXA. Of course, that all has to do with the current price. So if we go back and look at this price chart here, we zoom out a little bit. If we go back down to these levels again, that's going to cut profits in half. So instead of what were we on a 3070? Let's see. We were at 26 cents, so that would bring it down to 13 cents profitability, assuming hash rate stays exactly what it is at the moment. So next thing I wanted to take a look at was Caspa's network difficulty and hash rate. As you can see, it is dipping right now. Let me go ahead and refresh this page. Okay, so currently sitting at 353 terahash, and difficulty is sitting at 82, and just a few days ago we were at 92. So hash rates dropped roughly about 10 to 12% there on Caspa. I'm actually thinking about switching back over to Caspa because I'm at roughly 7 cents per kilowatt hour, not 10 cents per kilowatt hour. So it should be just slightly above break even for me. But I'm still on Radiant right at this very moment. Anyways, moving on, let's talk about confirmation of the 4070. So Nvidia has reference design for RTX 4070 and possibly RTX 4060 Ti as well. And as you can see, someone has shared the actual boxing for the 4070 with the specs and everything listed on it. So we're not far away, guys. I think maybe about a month, possibly a month and a half before we may see a 4070, which would be awesome. I'm not sure if they're going to release a 4070 prior to a 4060 Ti or a 4060, but based on the fact that we're seeing Founders Edition boxes for the 4070, I'm going to say it's looking more likely that we see the 4070 coming in next. So yeah, I'm very excited for the 4070. I think this could be a good GPU for mining, as well as just a good GPU overall. The big question is what's the price going to be? And you know, if you look at the 3000 series, a 3070 Ti was $599 and a 3070 was $499. So if we are up to, what is it, $799 for a Founders Edition 4070, or they don't make a Founders Edition, but a 4070 Ti, then that means we could potentially be looking at $699 for a 4070, which is absolutely ludicrous, but I really hope that that is not the case. I hope it comes in at $599 or below, but chances of that happening are pretty slim. Anyways, moving on, there's one article that I saw that was of interest. New York law firm investigates potential securities fraud at Core Scientific. And I'm not going to read this entire article. We've got a few of the things that I want to cover, and I'm kind of in a hurry, but yeah, SEC looking into Core Scientific could spell disaster for some, so just something to be aware of. All right, so the next thing that I want to talk about is basically some opinions that are going or being spoke about in regards to Lokotech and their scrypt miner. So if you're not familiar with Lokotech and their scrypt miner, I believe Chump Change XD and a few others were on a live stream the other day, and they were kind of, just continuing the discussion that Red Panda Mining had started in a live stream in regards to this scrypt ASIC, which is currently not in production. And essentially, it's almost like crowdfunding or pre-sales. They're wanting to take payments for something that doesn't exist. Let me give you some of the details on this scrypt miner. So Lokotech beats the nearest competitor by 437% on a 12 nanometer node. This means you can run more miners using the power capacity you have. And what we were looking at, or what we expected, was what they call a blade. It's basically the same size and dimensions as a GPU and fits into a PCIe slot. And that sounds awesome. If you can basically utilize your existing rigs as a scrypt miner and be 437% more efficient than the next closest efficiency on another ASIC miner, sure, everybody would buy one, right? I mean, well, depending on the price. But the thing about this is actually, let me just play a clip for you. So this is, in my opinion, the general consensus on everyone's thoughts surrounding paying for something that hasn't been created yet. So I'm just going to play a few seconds of this. Here we go.
So that Lokotech stuff.
Oh God,
I couldn't wait. He couldn't wait to talk about that. So what do you guys think about this? I don't know if it's a scam yet. I don't know what it is, but they're claiming to have like a massive hash blade that can do like an outrageous amount of hash rate.
Yep.
Go ahead, Hawk.
Yep. Listen to me when I tell you guys something.
This isn't gonna play.
Hold on. Assumption.
Oh, it is. Go ahead.
Right. So listen, what I'm saying is, when you say, oh, hey, I can make this product, right? But hey, pre-order it so I can build a prototype.
Yeah.
It's called stupidity. And there's stupid people who would buy this crap. It's a complete and utter bullshit scam, okay? I'm going to call it what it is. Nobody with a business model, okay, goes out and seeks funding for a product through pre-orders. We've seen this before, okay? And listen, he may be honest, okay? I'll give him benefit of the doubt real quick. He may be honest, but he's going about it the wrong way. This is the wrong way to get funding.
Okay, so I'm going to pause there. And what I want to point out here is I'm not disagreeing with him, but I'm going to play devil's advocate here for just a moment. What's the difference between pre-funding a product and funding developers in advance for a product that we don't have yet? Just think about it for a minute. So take, for example, Caspa. Caspa raised 70 million Caspa to fund the development of Dagnite. Did anybody bitch and complain about that? No. In fact, we raised 70 million Caspa in 12 days. Even I contributed. And I think I think everybody is very suspicious of Lokotech. And I am too. Anything in the past that was a pre-order has been very sketchy. There's been a lot of scams that have happened. But I just, looking at this from a psychology standpoint, I'm curious, and I would like to hear your comments down below. What's the difference? Why are people not upset when developers ask for donations, for funding to develop something that A, we don't know is possible, and B, hasn't been done yet? Just a thought. Just throwing it out there. Anyways, moving on. So, the next thing that I wanted to talk to you guys about... Oh, by the way, there's not any major changes in the Hive on changelog. Check this thing daily, and so far the last update was on the 7th with the release of Gminer version 3.24. It's pretty awesome that it supports ZIL mining and basically triple coin mining. They've made some really good improvements on Caspa and a few other things, and I have tested Gminer, by the way, but the efficiency in comparison to LOL Miner version 1.64 initially, I think we're up to 1.65 or 6.6 now at this point, but the efficiency was not nearly as close. Now, that may be a result of my overclocks. I did not play with it a whole lot. I've had several people in the Discord ask me to test it, and based on my initial tests so far, I just wasn't all that impressed and really didn't have a reason to switch if you're solo mining just Caspa. Anyways, okay, so getting to one of the last topics of today is the price of graphics cards. So I've got an article pulled up here from PC Parts Picker. I believe this is new GPU prices. This does not include used GPU prices, but we're going to go over that here in just a second. So I just want to scroll through this and let me read something here to you guys real quickly. So individual part prices are displayed as light blue points within the gray banding, creating an intensity graph of the price distribution. Dips in the lower price bound typically correspond to sales, or in extreme cases, merchant pricing mistakes. Price data includes promos, coupons, rebates, and shipping cost when available. So here we start with a 3050, and you'll notice that the bottom came in roughly the end of November. Okay, and then next we have a 3060. The bottom has pretty much been flat since the, I don't know, third week of November through about the third week of December. And then we've got a 3060 Ti. Now keep in mind, we do have segregation between a 3060 Ti and a 3060 Ti LHR. So you'll see here that prices actually bottomed roughly about the time of the merge. This looks like it would be around September 12th or so. And then we have fallen off. We're getting pretty close to that level, but as you can see, we're kind of ticking back up. Now, that it's really hard to use this as an example because these would be older cards if they're non-LHR. And then, of course, we have the LHR version, and you'll notice that we bottomed out roughly the third week of November, got back to those same levels towards the very beginning of January, but we are trending back up. And then next we've got a 3070. Now, this is a bit odd. Oh, yeah, one last thing. Regular 3070 versus 3070 LHR. You'll see this big drop in the chart. I'm not exactly sure what that is. I'm just going to assume that there were no 3070s that were non-LHR sold during this time frame. But you'll notice that we did bottom roughly sometime between mid-August and mid-September. And then we've been going back up since then. Now here's a 3070 LHR, and you'll notice that we bottomed roughly at the end of November, and we are trending up since then. Next we got a 3070 Ti. Also looks like we bottomed right at the beginning of November, and we are trending up. And then we have a 3080 10 gig, same thing as the scenario with the LHR and the 3070. So we have this gap here, but if we're looking prior to the gap, we bottomed out roughly at the beginning of December. And then on a 3070 LHR, we bottomed out sometime between the last week of November and maybe the first or second week of December, trending up since then. And then we have the 3080 12 gig. Looks like we bottomed, it's kind of hard to tell on this one, but I think towards the end of September we've been sideways, but then right towards the end of December, maybe right before Christmas, we peaked back up. We dropped off a little bit the first couple of days in January, and now we're back up again. And then we've got a 3080 Ti. Now this one is definitely pretty apparent that we bottomed at the end of September or beginning of October, and we've been trending up ever since then. And then we have the 3090 bottoming at the end of September and trending up since then. And then lastly, we have the 3090 Ti bottoming mid-September, roughly about the time of the merge, and trending up since then. Then we've also got 4070 Ti and 4090 pricing here. You'll notice the 4090 pricing is starting to fall off just a little bit, but not much data to go off of on the new 4000 series. So the next thing I wanted to take a look at was the used price market. And I've seen this chart many times. Unfortunately, I cannot find an updated version of it. So I had to go through the painstaking trouble of pulling in all the data myself. Now I used Tom's hardware to create the graph that I'm about to show you, but just so you know where I'm getting my data from, I'm just looking specifically at the prices of a 3070 and a 6700 XT. I did not take into account all GPUs because I feel like those two particular cards represent each manufacturer's most sought after card by a GPU miner. So we're going to take those numbers into account. I put that into a spreadsheet, and this is what we've got. So we've got January through December. This is 2022. Unfortunately, we don't have data for December, but if we look at the difference between October and November, you can see that it looks like we may have bottomed in October. So the blue is the RTX 3070, the orange is the RX 6700 XT. Note that we did go up here from October to November, but the RX 6700, and I actually have the exact dollar amount, it's not shown on this particular chart, but I want to say it was like 313 versus 310. So November did go down by about $3 on a 6700 XT in comparison to October, but as soon as December's numbers come out, I'll be sure and update this chart and share this with you guys. But it looks like there's a possibility that we may have bottomed. In fact, not only did we bottom, but we may have missed the bottom. It may have happened sometime between September and October. So, you know, I don't know. I'll keep track of it and let you guys know what I see in the future. And that's it for today's video. I appreciate you guys watching. Do me a favor, hit that like and hit the subscribe, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.